Let me guess, you signed up for every free lead magnet and binged on every marketing YouTube video and thought, what am I missing? Why isn't my business exploding like that? Well, I can tell you, you're not alone. Whether you're just getting started or have an established business, entrepreneurship can be really lonely. But it doesn't have to be. Overcoming your fear of launching or building your personal brand or figuring out how to scale, it shouldn't be holding you back. It should be empowering you. On this podcast, we're going to deep dive into the mechanics of what it takes to build your brand, make your mark, and stake your claim in the digital marketing space. I'll be chatting with people from all walks of life and stages in their careers. I will be getting inspiration from real experts who will share their actual strategies and techniques to grow loyal and raving followings and sell more stuff. This is entrepreneurship from people who are already there making it happen. My name is Jeff Mendelson. Join me and welcome to the One Big Tip podcast. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. My name is Jeff Mendelson, and this is the One Big Tip podcast. And today I'm really pleased to have with us Angela Marshall. Angela is a creative content consultant who does ghostwriting, editing, proofreading, SOPs, resumes, slogans, and bios. So she's got a lot of great advice for us today about how to put yourself further out there and how to network. And, you know, she's just a delight. So I'm really delighted to introduce her today. Angela, welcome to the show.
Hey, Jeff. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on One Big Tip. And I have got the one greatest, biggest, bestest, brightest tip for y'all today.
I love it. Bring the energy. Angela, I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about your beginnings, how you got into this, and how you got to the point where you are today through the connections that you've made.
Absolutely. Again, thank you for having me. I am known as a mental horticulturist. So what that is I'm a person who has planted a lot of positive seeds. I've spoke a lot of positive seeds to impact and influence people across the globe, either through my books or in person at various speaking engagements. I wrote a book. I published a book in 2017 that kind of catapulted me to the place to where I am today, being a published author and a creative content consultant. And from there, everything else just kind of soared from that particular point. So I am a person who believes in connections. I believe in networking, but I also believe in genuine and authentic connections where you are willing to give more than you receive, because the receiving is going to come as long as you give. So that's just a little bit about me.
So that's really interesting that you say that, because in order to connect and to give, I mean, we now have a lot of great tools in order to do that. And that's actually your one big tip, is how to use those tools.
Yes.
What's your one big tip?
The one big tip is join community online groups, forums, and organizations. You never know who's who and what's what in those groups. I have had many opportunities handed to me, offered to me, requested, just from joining an online community group. I've had people that have offered me jobs as far as doing their resumes, resume training, virtual speaking, actual speaking engagements where accommodations have been paid. I mean, you name it. It's all about being in service to others. And when others know that you're in service to them, they go all out of their way to be in service to you.
So it's interesting that you say that. Let's just focus on the in-person networking for a minute, right? I, in particular, have not had such great luck with it, right? I would go to these Chamber of Commerce events, and I just feel like I would be sold to by every person who thought that they had an offer, to give. And sometimes you would even get this, just this icky feeling of just get away from me, because not only do they have this really crappy offer, or they don't know how to sell it to you,
right?
They come at you so aggressively, like why are you not taking me up on my offer type thing, and you're just like, please back it up, right? So I stopped going to those, because it was just, and I'm talking about the in-person ones, right?
how do you navigate those? Because I know it's about attitude. I know it's about dressing the part. I know it's about, showing up, but how can an introvert like me go to an event like that, show up and bring value while swatting away all the flies as well, in order to leave an impact?
Well, unfortunately, Jeff, you have to take the good with the bad, and you have to take the selfless people with the selfish people, and you have to take it all with a grain of salt. Because I mean, ultimately, yes, we're there to network. Some are there for what they can give, and then others are there for what they can get. And it's just about weeding, the weeding process of going past those people that you already know. Like you said, you can tell by their aggressive behavior or their words, their verbiage. It's usually more of an I, or they start off talking about money immediately, trying to get money from you from different situations or whatnot in the process. But for me, I just refuse to let anyone dictate my movement, period. So even if I'm approached with, I can, just the most aggressive person, salesperson or whatever, I just refuse to allow them to move me from a situation that I know will ultimately will benefit me in the long run. Because again,
Okay, fair enough.
there's like a few people there that are going to be headaches, but just think about once you get past them and you stand strong and you stand tall because you know what your reasoning is for being at the Chamber of Commerce or in those online community groups. Just like me, it's not like I have a pleasant experience every single time, but I just refuse to let the few unpleasant experiences that I have to deter me. And so ultimately for the introverts, that's what you guys have to do. Like you really have to just say, okay, that one was not so good, but hey, I've got three more people that were great experiences for me. And then you continue to show up. You continue to show up.
Okay, fair enough. I can deal with that. How does that work then in terms of online communities? Because now it's so easy for us to join Facebook group after group after group, LinkedIn group after group after group. I mean, I got to tell you right now, I have group fatigue because I'm getting, it used to be Facebook pages was all the rage. Now was all the rage. Now it's Facebook groups, and at some point Facebook is going to be reining them in. But right now they're really pushing the message that if you're running your group, you can reach your target audience a lot better and a lot faster. I don't know how long that's going to last necessarily, but it's definitely like something that's that's still out there. What would be some great tactics for engaging in online groups that you found helpful?
First of all, I would just say anytime you join or before you join a group, you have to do your research because just because the name may say authors and writers, which I'm both, it does not necessarily mean that that group is going to feed into everything that I needed to do for me or that what I can, being value added to that particular group. So you have to be very, very careful with the group. So that's probably why you have a little fatigue there. So I would just be very, very more methodical with the groups that I join, which is what I have been, and then also get on a schedule. So from day to day, like I don't check in with all of my online groups every single day. I have a day for IG, I have a day for LinkedIn, I have a day for Facebook, and then I have a day for just Google, certain groups that I belong to with Google. Because yeah, you can get overwhelmed and overloaded just with all the other personal stuff that you're bombarded with, and then you put on top of that professional goals that you're trying to achieve. So I would just say be very methodical with the groups that you join and make sure that you are much more of a value added asset to them than they are to you, and that will probably curb a lot of your anxiety.
It's interesting. You have this quote that we talked about before: connect more than you compete.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
Explain that.
Okay, so connect more than you compete simply means even though I may be in a setting where I can push my books or I can push my agenda, I have to have the wisdom or the wherewithal to know when to speak and when not to speak, to know when to sell and when not to sell. And just because, the setting, let's just say I'm a vendor at a particular event, or I, go to a particular event, it doesn't mean that I should be more interesting than interested. Now, one of my other mentors, Dave Kirkman, he has an amazing book out, The Art of People. He talks about that, being interested than interesting. So it's just about being able to make connections with people and them understanding that, yes, I have an agenda. I mean, we all do. And that agenda is to grow my business, grow my brand, visibility, exposure. However, I don't want to do it at the expense of just pushing I, or me. So that's why I say I am more of a connector than a competitor, because I feel like, everything that I'm trying to get out there to reach to people as far as my services and skills, they're going to know that I can do those things eventually anyway, because I would have talked about it. There are certain times within the groups, the online groups, where you can post about certain things that you do, certain services, and then they also give you opportunities for you to connect with other people in these groups, which is phenomenal. So those are all ways that eventually at some point, something will come out about Angela Marshall. I don't have to just make it all about Angela Marshall.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that. Can you please let everyone know where they can learn more about you and how they can reach out to you directly if they want to learn more?
Absolutely. Thank you again for having me. My personal website is www.inotherwordsbystone.com, and I'm on every social media platform known to man as Angela Marshall.
Amazing. Angela, it's really been a delight having you here today. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.